Alright, y'all, so we're back. Part 2 of my Bound for Glory '09 review. As you can see, I'm rocking the main event Mafia t-shirt. I'm a TNA fan, man. What can I say? I'm not too much of a Mafia fan since Sting left the Mafia, but hey, man. I mean, it's still TNA, still great wrestlers, man. So here we go, man. I'm gonna pick it up where I left off. I just finished talking about ODB retaining her Knockouts Championship against Tara and Awesome Kong. Nothing special there, man. It was, you know. I don't like ODB. Awesome Kong is just a big mass, and Tara's the only one in that match that had any talent. I mean, in my opinion. So, whatever. Like I said, I think I gave it, 2 stars? Whatever. Next, we have Bobby Lashley and Samoa Joe in the submission match. Now, if y'all know me, y'all know my videos, y'all know my thoughts on Samoa Joe, I think he's garbage. I cannot stand that just waste of space that is Samoa Joe. But you got a lot of fans, especially in California, so, I respect that. I'm glad though that he lost because I'm really getting sick of you making Samoa Joe a heel. Heels are not supposed to get a lot of clean victories, and you've been having this guy just steamroll everybody like he's still the man. And first of all, Samoa Joe looks he looks like his wardrobe editor, whoever, just can't get a right look for him, man. I mean, first, he had his original tights with the 2-color shorts. He looked ridiculous. Then he had the Nation of Violence pants. They looked like pajama pants on a big fat dude. Then you gave him shorts. Now you gave him like these boxing trunks with these little Nation flags coming out the side. He just looks ridiculous, man. Anyways, this match was a submission match. Meaning you had to get a submission to win. That's the only way to win. It had a little MMA feud with it at first. They were feeling each other out, going for drop holds and ground and pound and stuff like that. Samoa Joe was trying to show up Lashley. Lashley was getting mixed reactions from the crowds at best because this was Samoa Joe's home, basically. So Joe had a lot of "Joe's gonna kill you" chants and all that. It was pretty good action, man. I mean, I will give Samoa Joe props when it's due. He put in some work, but he still looks clumsy in the ring, man. Basically, the match ended with Samoa Joe. They had some good spots going back and forth. Both these guys really beat on each other. But then they had a part at the end where Bobby Lashley got Samoa Joe in the corner, and he was fired up, and he was running in for kind of like that spear that he likes to do. And Samoa Joe caught him in that I think Taz called it an Uranagi, which is this kind of takedown to Samoa Joe. That's that takedown that everybody that comes to hit Samoa Joe in the corner, he catches him and then he slams him down. So he hit him with that. Then he hit him with another Uranagi suplex, and then he went for a third one, and Lashley elbowed him, reversed it into like an STO takedown, and then hooked on the submission where he had his arm and his head hooked in like a lock. And less than 10 seconds in that, Samoa Joe was passed out. Supposedly, the referee rang the bell. Announcers were saying they didn't see Samoa Joe tap, but perhaps he lost consciousness. And after that, Samoa Joe was just wiped out on the floor. So I love that because I can't stand him. And I thought it was a good match for both guys, man. So I'm gonna give that 3.5 stars. 3.5 stars out of 5. Good match. I'm glad Samoa Joe lost. And not just because I don't like the dude as far as a wrestler, talent wise. It's just because he gets too many wins, man. He just gets they push him too much. You know what I'm saying? And it's not even relevant push. It's not like a title push or anything. It's just they're pushing him to be this unstoppable machine, whether he's a good guy or bad guy, and it really doesn't mean anything. So I just rather him, make him human, give him a few losses, especially to a guy. I don't care how much to Samoa Joe I am wrestling. Bobby Lashley's the next Army Ranger. The guy's traps are bigger than you. Get out of here, man. The guy's a monster. And he's actually athletic as hell, too. He jumped over Samoa Joe a few times. I couldn't believe it. But like I said, 3.5 stars out of 5. Then we had the Monsters Ball match. Abyss and Mick Foley. Hardcore past versus hardcore present and future. This was really good. They had Stevie Richards as a special guest referee, and the stipulation that Abyss could not use thumbtacks to win, but apparently Mick Foley can use whatever he wants. He's playing kind of the heel in this feud and whatever. It was a very good match. Right out the gates, Abyss comes out for his entrance. He does the fireworks and all that, and then Mick Foley comes from behind with the barbed wire bat. No music for Mick Foley. He just jumps him from behind. Start fighting, man. He already hit him like 2 or 3 times with the barbed wire bat before they ever got to the ring. Gave him a spinning neck breaker out there on the floor on the ramp, which you heard the impact when they both hit that floor. Then Mick Foley had a spot where he was climbing the scaffolding by the entrance, and Abyss tried to follow him, and then Mick Foley gave him like 20 right hands to the face, and Abyss fell from there, a good 8-9 feet in the air, straight through the wood of the ramp, right through the stage. So that was amazing, man. Then they got back to the ring, and you had a bunch of barbed wire spots. Like they had some barbed wire boards, and there was one spot where Abyss propped one up in the corner, and he Irish whipped Mick Foley right into it. So when Mick Foley hit the barbed wire, I mean, you could see when he tried to get off of it, you could see the barbed wire grabbing onto the back of his neck and his hair and like ripping, bro. It was pretty sick, intense, man. Daphne tried to interfere. Daphne, I gotta give her props, man. That girl is a trooper, man. She got chokeslammed by Abyss from the top rope to the outside through a barbed wire board that was prop between the ring and the steel guardrail, and she went right through it, man, and had another one land on her. So she's a trooper, man. The match was very good. You know, a lot of blood, especially from Abyss. Not too much blood from Foley. I don't think Foley even bled at all, to tell you the truth. It wasn't as gruesome as most Monsters Balls in the past, but it was still good just because of who you had in there. Abyss and Mick Foley. I mean, that's amazing. Then the match ended with Mick Foley got a taser from Daphne, and he tasered Abyss. Tried to get the cover, didn't work. Abyss was gonna chokeslam Mick Foley on the thumbtacks that he himself laid out, that Mick Foley laid out, and Stevie Richards was telling him, "No, you can't do that, you can't do that." So he grabbed Stevie Richards and gave him the shock treatment. And every time I see that move, I just cringe because it looks painful as hell. Gave him the shock treatment. Then he took I think after that, sometime after that, I'm kind of like foggy right now, but sometime after that, I know that he did a black hole slam on Stevie Richards right on the thumbtacks with no shirt, so that he got all that in the back. Then he went and he chokeslammed Mick Foley on one of the barbed wire boards and got the 3 count. Abyss wins the Monsters Ball. 4 stars out of 5, man. Only reason it wasn't 5 stars is because it wasn't as long and as bloody as other Monsters Balls. And especially for having Mick Foley and Abyss in there, you think you're gonna bring the house down with blood, but it was still great, man. 4 out of 5. Then we had the 2 main events. Well, I call them main events because both matches were main event caliber. You had Morgan and Matt Morgan, the Blueprint, the DNA of TNA, against the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle had to go out there with the main event Mafia basically being 0 for 3 the whole night. So it was a bad night for main event Mafia. So Kurt Angle goes out there. Man, this match was amazing. It lived up to the hype. Matt Morgan really grew up. I'm not just quoting Taz. I was thinking of that as I was watching the match. Matt Morgan really grew up into the premier big man in wrestling today, into a superstar in this match, bro. Great set of reversals, great action back and forth. Kurt Angle was just amazing, man. I'm not a huge fan of his, but I respect the man. The man is amazing, bro. The best technical wrestler on the planet today. He had a bunch of roll-ups for the ankle lock and all that. I mean, it was just a great match overall, man. They were hitting each other's finishing moves, and they were kicking out. Matt Morgan kicked out of an Olympic slam, or angle slam, whatever you call it. Kurt Angle kicked out of a carbon footprint and a elevator. I mean, they just went back and forth until finally at the end, Matt Morgan had Kurt Angle on his shoulders, and Kurt Angle did a victory roll for the 1, 2, 3. And usually I don't like roll up endings, but that one came out of nowhere, and it fit because of the way Kurt Angle wrestles, and he got the win. But at the end of the match, Kurt Angle actually, no strings attached, no jokes, no tricks, no swerves, went over to Matt Morgan and he shook his hand, and Matt Morgan shook his hand, and Kurt Angle raised Matt Morgan's hand and pointed at him like, "Yo, this is the future." And Kurt Angle walked out of there. So good thing is Kurt Angle finally gets a win at Bound for Glory, because that's his first win at Bound for Glory, their biggest pay-per-view. And Matt Morgan, bro, even though he didn't win, man, he was put over huge, man. He is the future. Now we got the main event, and like I said, I'm gonna talk about it a little bit. So I might even make a part 3. You never know. Sting and AJ Styles for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. What can be said about this match, bro? Sting. Been wrestling for 23 plus years, I think it is. My favorite personal wrestler. Personally, my favorite wrestler. Make sure I word that right. A believer, Christian, just like myself, just like AJ Styles. One of the best ever. And then AJ Styles, the phenomenal one. He is the future. He is the face of TNA. Him, Matt Morgan, Abyss, these guys are the future. This match was amazing. Matter of fact, I'm gonna cut this video off right here because I need a good at least 5 minutes to just really get into this match, man. So I know it's a long review, but here's what I do, man. I ain't done video in a while. TNA Bound for Glory was amazing. So hit me up, part 3 coming up. We're gonna discuss Sting and AJ Styles, the main event.